sense of helplessness, feeling overwhelmed, and all these kind of things. So there are a lot of ACD, OCD, bipolar disorders, alcohol, drug abuse, self-harm. All these are mental illnesses. Our aim at the moment is that we should be able to raise awareness. We have to raise this awareness amongst ourselves first. We have to educate ourselves. We have to be able to, how can we address some concerns? We have to reduce. So like I said, Rotary at the moment is campaigning around, going around the communities, campaigning, and they're saying, don't bottle it up. If I'm not afraid to speak up, neither should you be afraid to speak up. So help break this taboo. Don't suffer in silence. Am I going fine, or am I going too? There are causes for this. I mean, why is domestic violence so high in our society at the moment, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic? The causes can be economical, it could be social exploitation, alcohol. Of men at the moment are to start drinking a lot, so violence can start from that. There is a lot of substance abuse going on. So culture plays a lot of part into this as well. Children can be victims in this one. So there are solutions. We have to break the silence. People have to start intervening. We can't just let people suffer and not intervene. So we must all support each other. Then there are other people like there's quite high in men. Guys tend to bottle things up. It's hard for them to speak openly. They need to be in tune with their emotions and open up about the experience they are going through. A lot of young people are also involved, and so there's a lot of drug abuse going on, there's self-harming going on, and there are other people like carers. We never talk about the carers. I have gone through that journey myself. My mother was quite ill, and I devotionally looked after my mom. During the past 3 years, I had to give up my job. I had to go, before I went part-time, then I had to give up my job completely because my mother needed me 24/7. And I was mentally and physically so exhausted, and I felt that I was very isolated. There was no help for me. I had to manage everything. And most of the time, I just completely forgot about myself, whether I needed somebody to look after me or I needed to go to the doctor. And this is how depression can set on you. Thank God that it didn't set on me. I've lost my mother. I am going through bereavement at the moment, and it is difficult. It's not easy with COVID isolation going on as well. But I'm keeping myself very busy. I've been attending a lot of the Zoom meetings. I'm quite active. Things we can do. There are other things people can look into if they have got any depression problems. They can look for is a good therapy. We've been talking about meditation, yoga. All these things can help people going through depression and things through there. Now, there's something I wanted to make you all aware about children. 1 in 4 adults will experience a mental health problem given year and a half. And all causes of mental illness begin at the age of 14. So there's a lot of mental health problems amongst children which go unnoticed, and they suffer in silence. Sometimes we don't even realize that they've got mental illnesses. We might think, oh no, they're being very lazy. Why are they sleeping so much? Or why aren't they sleeping? They're always on their gadgets. But their behaviors, you've got to look for the behaviors. If there is a lot of anger amongst them, they feel irritable about things, they're agitated all the time, when you talk to them, they don't want to talk about things. They're kind of, they just go back to their rooms and all that. These are the kind of signs. So it's very important for parents to look out for these signs amongst their children. It's important that we sit together, eat together, and we talk to each other. And that's the only way we will be able to do something about this illness. With the children, there is a new project going on. It's called A Million and Me. And it's about, I've got a leaflet here I'm trying to show. It's called A Million and Me. It is supported by the BBC Children in Need, and a lot of partners, including Boots UK, is also supporting them. I want to talk a little bit more about awareness, bringing how can we bring this awareness amongst people. Our aim should be to raise awareness amongst ourselves, first of all. It's very important we raise it ourselves, and we've got to educate ourselves how to address some of these concerns. We need to talk about mental health openly, and mental health often goes untreated. It is an invisible disease, and depression affects around 1 in 12 of the whole population. So there is a lot of issues going on at the moment. And there are charity organizations I wanted to tell you about which can help. They are in operation. For example, there's a charity organization called Mind in the West Midlands. You can approach them. There is another charity organization called Guild in London. Sane is also working with them in partnership. There is another one called Calm and Head Together. This initiative was led by Prince Williams by holding conversation around communities. We have to become a community voice. We have to be the advocate, and we have to raise profile as the citizens. We got to remove these stigmas. We've got to engage with them by having a dialogue and forming relationships. We have to educate our communities. We have to change the stereotype, such as the media. Media reports often link mental illness with violence and portray people as dangerous and criminal evils. We need to remove these stigmas and discrimination. We have to build a relationship with homeless people, lonely people, older people. We have to find solutions, and the treatments are there. We have to approach our GP. We have to go and see the experts. There is counseling going on. There are hospitals, so you can, through your GP, you can get an appointment and go and see somebody. But if you can't do that, you got to find somebody, your relatives, maybe a friend or somebody outsider. Talk to them, talk openly. The more we talk about this, the better it is for us all, because sometimes in life we're all going to be facing mental health one way or the other. There are so many causes, so many imbalances in our lives, so we got to start talking. So that's the biggest awareness we can bring, is start talking about it. I don't want to go too much into mental health and all these things, because we've been talking about this throughout the week and I don't want to be repeating the same things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up to you guys to ask questions, and through questions then I can answer your, we can talk more about it. So is there anybody who would like to ask any kind of questions? Hello? Yeah. Are you still there? Sorry, I can't hear you at all.
Yeah, I think everybody is on mute. Let me unmute everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, Shagufta. That was wonderful. Hello, everyone.
I have was having
Are you
right
muted?
mindset.
No, I couldn't hear. I could hear the lady's voice, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. Guys, any
Maybe
questions, feel free to maybe put in the chat if you want, or speak out or raise your hand, however you find it perfect.
I can share my experience,
That'll
although
be
I
great.
don't have many.
Go
Yeah,
on.
I've enjoyed the conversation. Like Shagufta, I've been through exactly the same kind of experience looking after my mother, had to leave the job. And mental health is challenging because in the beginning, you're not trying to just adjust your own way of living, not working, but you're trying to adjust to another person who needs you. So there's demand from both sides. And that can be often taxing because we're not used to it. And if you're not careful, if you don't seek help, or if you're not aware of it and you don't know how to manage it, it can lead into complications, and then you have to seek professional help and get medication. So it's best open up early and then talk about it, get advice if you need to, and then you don't go down that deep route of depression, anxiety, whatever, and then coming out of it takes just as long. But even if you go into these states, these diseases are not there for life. You can be cured from them only if you seek help, as Shagufta said. That's my personal experience, and I'm managing better now than I was when I first had to leave job and look after her. So in the beginning, it's very challenging, and you need to be aware of it. And I don't think there is that much carers.
Yes, Surinder. Hi, Surinder. How are you?
Hi,
Surinder and I have been,
Nitya.
let me introduce Surinder. Surinder and I have been colleagues at the hospital many, many years ago.
40
We worked,
years ago.
yes, 40 years ago, we worked in the hospital
We
together,
trained
and
together.
in
We
Reading.
trained together.
We trained together, that's right. And then she moved to London and I'm still in Coventry. Welcome, Surinder. Yes, I know you've been a carer like myself, and it is a thankless task actually, and yet there are loved ones, and we devotionally give time to them, which we don't mind, but it is hard. It's a very thankless task. And problem is, now that my mother has passed away, I feel nobody's even bothered about me, like the government. No one wants to know me. No one is bothered. They don't know where my finance is coming from. I'm finding financially difficult because obviously I gave up my job, and with COVID now things are very difficult. I'm looking into my retirement now, so the pension won't be a lot to keep me going, but the government doesn't help carers. All of a sudden you're left on your own. You don't know what to do. You're completely lost and isolated. But I've got siblings who take care of me. I've got very good friends. They give me a lot of support. And like I said, I keep myself very, very busy. And that's the only way I can cope. But grieving and caring and all that is a thankless task, and it's not easy. Thank you for sharing your experience, Surinder. We'll ask somebody else. Anything else you want to comment on this, what I've just said?
No, I think I just share that. But there is, I understand what you're saying. There's no help available. But recently there are changes and there is help available for carers, solo carers as well. For example, each borough is registering solo carers who've actually either given up their job. There are some children, there are some 15, 16-year-old kids looking after their grandparents, and they're their full-time carers. And there is help available now. I've been registered with my GP as a full-time carer with Healing Council for Mom. So if anything happens to me, if I need help, they will be there to help. But it's not widely advertised and people are not aware of it.
There's a lot of support. I support what
Oh gosh.
This is mine, is it? It's through bereavement. That's when nobody wants to know you. No, there's no help then. I don't know. Where's that going on? Is that some, because I haven't got any kind of interference.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
Can you unmute yourself, Shagufta ji?
Yes, unmute everybody. If anybody has questions, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm in the car and the internet is very unstable. I'm connected through hotspot, but it was lovely to listen to you, Shagufta.
Yeah.
As always, a pleasure to hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Surinder ji, thank you so much for coming in. Are we having any more questions, or should we wind up? Are we done? Anyone?
Yeah, we don't have any questions in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Hello. May I share something?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, hi. In India, I'm part of an NGO called GIA, which stands for a group of intellectual academicians. Lots of professors, lots of lawyers are there in that group. I'm from the media. We formed a helpline number called Sakhi. So we were all volunteers and we all trained ourselves for a couple of Zoom sessions. And this helpline number, we had a lot of calls from people in India, from various parts of the country. And of course, some of them were hungry because of the situation, but we were asked to deal specifically for mental stress issues. And we handled pretty well. I think something like this, when you're part of an organization, it becomes easier because the organization takes care of the technicalities, how the calls have to get passed on and so on and so forth. Another point I want to make is that I've also been through the same thing, looking after my father. It's very emotionally draining when you have to look after an elder person because you're fighting a losing battle, as simple as that. If you're looking after children, that you look up, children will grow up and so on. But an aging parent you're emotionally totally drained out. One thing I very strongly feel is that whatever your spiritual quotient be, any kind of stress, just push up your spiritual quotient, double the dose. It's just
I agree.
like whatever if you're doing japa, if you're doing prayers, if you're doing meditation, just double it up. A small instance, when my dad was unwell, My son was this is class 12 exams, and the doctor who was treating my father knew us. So I used to have a gap while speaking. I would have a gap for about 4 to 5 seconds. My breath would just stop, and I'm a news reader, so it was suicidal for me to be speaking like this. So I went to a very good hospital, Max Hospital. The doctor said, maybe I was having a little cough. X-ray done, this done. He gave me an antibiotic. The cough improved, but this 2-3 second of stopping of breath would not improve. So I spoke to my father's doctor, who's also a family friend, and he said, Lalima, you're going through stress. It's a sign of stress. I'd never imagined this stoppage of 2-second breath was a sign of stress. I said, okay, that guy's very intelligent. So I said, okay, if it's stress, I'm into art of living. I'm also into Baj flower therapy, a bit of yoga nidra. I pushed up everything and it automatically stopped. So whatever be your spiritual pursuits, you just double, treble looking at your stress. I wanted to share this with you.
Thank you. That's lovely.
That's really good.
Please also tell us a little bit about that helpline. Is that only for people in India, or is it anyone?
Yeah, I think it would be primarily for Delhi and NCR. It was majorly, but we were getting calls from outside India, and we would connect. There was some abuse because the men, staying at home all along, 24 hours. There was some domestic violence cases, so that the lawyers would handle. They would contact the lawyers in their cities. It was within India. Sakhi. Sure. It was called Sakhi.
Would you have any other contact details? So if any of the participants whose relatives are there somewhere in India, and if they want to contact,
give you the number.
Can they just Google it, Sakhi, and
I'll do it.
Isn't it?
Yeah, Sakhi Helpline.
Can I?
Thank you.
In England, we've got these kind of organizations as well. Like I mentioned earlier, Mind, Guild, Sane, Calm, heads together. You can join any of these organizations, but time is the big problem with us all. Joining organizations, because we're already so involved with so many organizations. But these people, they sit down, they talk about your mental illness, they bring things out of you. So we've got organizations here as well. That was very valid point that lady made. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I questions, or
can I just say something? I just wanted to say we've also got the Samaritans Helpline in the UK. So they're nationwide, and we can, anybody can ring the Samaritans. So that is one thing we have in the UK.
Especially the
That's
children.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Especially the children. I mean, they can go to the Samaritan and all that. Yes. Yeah. Anybody else?
I think when it comes to children, you have to be a very, very intelligent mother. You got to have your antenna up in the air to see and judge the signals. What is it? Because the children will never say, "I'm depressed." They'll have some kind of some kind of symptoms, weird symptoms, which as a mother, intelligent mother, you have to catch like this. You have to be a very smart mom for
that. Yeah. Yes, motherhood comes into this. Both parents are very important. The whole family's support is needed, and you need to observe your children. You should know them. Observations are very important. Yeah. I mean, at least you've got your organization, and this is how we can create awareness. Otherwise, people will just suffer in silence. So we need to work at it.
That's definitely true.
Thank you for your.
We haven't got any further questions, so I will thank you so much, Shagufta ji, for today's session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Tomorrow's speaker will be our own host, Darshana Shah. She is an Art of Living meditation teacher, and she's also a poet. So yes, please join in at the same time, 7 o'clock, same link, or if you're joining us from Facebook, you know where to log in, where to find us, and see you all tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, Shagufta. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Shagufta.
Thank you, Shagufta ji. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Shagufta ji.
Thank you. Thank you. It's such a wide subject. Just didn't know where to start, and so I thought I'll just raise a few points here and there, and I hope it was okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was fantastic, ma'am. It was nice.
Lovely to talk to you. Yes, we spoke to each other, didn't we, yesterday?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we spoke yesterday. It was
Tell me your
lovely. Thank you so
tell
much.
me your name again.
Purva Joshi,
Yes, Purva. And you're based in India at the
Mumbai.
moment.
Yes.
Yes. You're very pretty
Thank
lady.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So as you are. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I'm going through my grieving at the moment, so been crying a lot,
I
and I've
understand.
got